We got a good show for you today. Today we have Brady Hiestand. He's a UFC Bantamweight fighter. He was the Ultimate Fighter Season 29 finalist, and he's got a fight coming up soon. Thanks for coming on. All right, so, I got to ask, my first question, I ask a lot of athletes this, but, do you ever, pinch yourself and you think, man, I'm, fighting in the UFC? I mean, that's got to be, the coolest thing ever.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's definitely been my dream ever since I was like 14. I started doing jujitsu when I was 14, and watching these guys make money and make a living doing this was always like my inspiration. So the fact after I got on the Ultimate Fighter, I was like, I made it. And then I got my first UFC fight and I won. And I'm like, I made it. So every experience I have with the UFC is just another I made it moment. So
Yeah, and it's also, so new to you, so I guess you're, still in that phase where everything's just, I don't know, you're, it's just, so cool because, you're just learning, you're experiencing new things every day.
for sure. Yeah, like traveling down, like I just went on a month-long trip to Vegas and trained at some of the big gyms down there. And so that was a new experience for me being down there for so long, training with those guys. Like trained with Marab every day, Vince Morales, even got some rounds in with like Patchy Mix. He's in the
Yeah.
$1 million Grand Prix for Bellator. And then even like got me and Dominic Cruz trained for an hour straight, just grappled each other. So, training with these legends I see on TV and, competing with them was just unreal.
Yeah, so one of my questions I wanted to ask was how'd you get the name Bam Bam?
Yeah, so I don't. I guess you're into me because I'm a young guy. I've always been the young guy in the gym. Like I said, I started when I was 14. I had my first MMA fight when I was 16.
Yeah,
So I was always the little guy. Like Bam Bam from the Flintstones, the
yeah,
young baby of the group. But I was
yeah.
always really strong, and I loved just picking people up and slamming people and smashing shit. And so they just call me Bam Bam.
Dude, your shirt I saw on Millions. I'm getting one. That's hard. I like the one where you're dude, that's sick. But
Shout out to my training partner, his girlfriend Kaya. She's in college actually right now. She's about to graduate with a graphic design degree, and she did my t-shirt. So shout out to Kaya, and yeah, she's a savage.
yeah, no, that was awesome. So you talked about Ultimate Fighter. What was it like being on that?
Dude, it was a weird experience, Before that, because I got on when I was 21. Before that, the longest I'd ever been away from, home with my family was like a month. And I still had my phone, so I was talking to him. So being on the show for 2 months without any communication with him was really tough. It was kind of a weird, like, growing up experience. But it was a cool experience. Obviously, I got to train with like the legend Volkanovski.
Yeah.
I got to see how him and his team does things. So it literally taught me a lot about how I should run my career.
Yeah, I saw a photo with him. You still stay in contact with him?
Yeah, yeah. He messaged me before every one of my fights. I messaged him before his. We're still talking. If I ever go down to Australia, I know I got a home at his gym.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. During that experience, what was the biggest thing you learned from being on that?
Being on the show was
Yeah, just
probably the
in fighting everyone. Yeah.
the biggest thing I learned for myself was the fact that I can compete with these guys.
Hmm.
Because before that, I'd only fought on, in my small town of Spokane, and I never fought a guy from like a big gym, and so competing against these guys, I knew it in my heart, but it was just validation. Like when I went out there and I beat Josh, who had a 5-round fight with Morales in his prime, and then I went and I beat Vince Murdoch in the first round, and he's from Team Alpha Male. Once I won those fights, it was like, oh yeah, I can compete and I can be the best one day.
Yeah,
So the
no,
biggest thing I learned from the show is just the confidence.
yeah, and it just grows with, I guess, each fight. So you're a part of UFC Fight Night. It's 222, right? It's good.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's because I saw on the thing it was April 15th and it was 22nd. But what's the process for you finding a fight?
Yeah. So I got a management. So I'm with Jason House and Iridium. Great people. The best managers in the game. And so they talked to Sean Shelby, the matchmaker, for me, and they just shoot me a message, be like, hey, do you want this fight? It's against this dude. We talk about it, we discuss it, and then I sign a contract, and then we're off to the races.
Yeah. So what do you expect from you're fighting I'm gonna mess the name up, but it's Dana Batgerel, right? So what do you expect from that?
I, it's actually Danna Batgerel, I believe,
Okay,
but
so
I could be butchering it too.
okay, yeah. So what do you expect from the fight?
He's a good brawler. He comes out with heavy hooks. He's got, a bunch of knockouts on his record, and he's a tough dude. He hasn't been put away except for one time by Chris Gutierrez. So I'm expecting a war. I'm expecting him to come out, try to take my head off, and me to, negate all that, and then maybe take him down, choke him out, or land my own knockout punch.
Yeah,
But I'm
no.
I'm expecting a finish. I want to finish maybe second or third round.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so when you're like leading up, obviously, close to the fight, how do you like run your camp?
Yeah, so like I said, last month I was in Vegas. So when I'm down there, I train on their MMA schedule, and then we run our own practices. But back here in Spokane, I have my routine. I wake up, I have my breakfast, all this stuff. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I go work out with my strength conditioning coach, Dylan Lemry. We get that work in. And then I will usually do Monday through Friday, I train MMA at night at Sick Jitsu. And
Okay.
then so Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday and Saturday I'll go and do jujitsu during the day, and then I'll sprinkle in mitts throughout once I'm feeling it. And every day I'm not doing strength conditioning. I'm going for a little bit of a run as well. So
Yeah,
I keep myself pretty busy.
yeah. My buddy who he fights MMA, he wanted me to ask you this. Like what weight do you walk around and like what do you cut like try to cut weight to?
Okay, so that's a good question, and it's always changing because, like I said, I got an Ultimate Fighter when I was 21,
Hmm.
and I've been fighting at 135 since I was 16. So
Yeah.
I've slowly got bigger, but I've been staying at 135. So like this last time out, I got up to 162. And so that was the biggest I got.
Yeah.
After I had ACL surgery, I got up to 168, but usually I get up to like 162,
Yeah.
163. That's where I like walk at. When I get into camp, I like to diet down to between 147 and 149.
Hmm.
And so I'll diet down to there, and then I'll do the rest in water. So it's like a 12, 11 to 13 pound water cut the last
Okay.
week.
Okay. So like what are you like eating during that cutting? Are you just
Yeah, so luckily the UFC's great with us, and they send us these icon meals, and so they're like pre-packaged meals with like sweet potatoes for the carbs, maybe rice
Mhm.
or and then some vegetables, and then just lean meats like chicken and salmon and stuff like that. So that's what I'll have for lunch. My girlfriend, she's an amazing cook, so she'll make me like some low carb, fajitas
Yeah.
and just some salmon and just stuff like that for dinner. And then every morning I usually just have a couple eggs, some natural sugar-free bacon, and then just some Dave's Killer Bread.
Yeah, so I was like this. The only reason why I'm asking this next question because I was watching Creed yesterday and I was hearing the walkout song. Do you have a walkout sound a song planned yet?
Yes, I do. It's called Elevate by, it's a weird name. It's like starts with a Y. But yeah, it's Elevate. I like that song. It gets me pumped up.
Yeah, no, that's sweet. So talking off, Ultimate Fighter, do you want a rematch with Ricky?
100%. I've been talking to my team. My team's like, forget about Ricky. He's not worth it, blah blah blah. But yeah, one day, I want that rematch with Ricky. One, because I think I won the fight.
Yeah.
Two, I fought him without an ACL, so I fought him injured,
Hmm.
coming off the show because I tore my ACL the first week I was on the show, so I wasn't even at my 100%.
Yeah.
No excuses. Like he won.
Yeah.
He. It was a close fight, and it could have gone either way. I shouldn't have let it get that close, but I want to run that back for sure. I think it's too close for what was on at stake. I think we deserved a fourth round.
Yeah. Also, you get, your redemption there. So
Yeah,
this one's for me. So my buddy, I literally just went in the gym like 2 weeks with him. Never fought MMA before. He's trying to get me into it. What's the best piece of advice you can give to me?
best piece of advice. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a good one. If you're just like, what are you trying to get a fight soon, or are you just trying to? What's the best advice to
I'm
learn?
just
Like,
trying to learn. Like I'm learning like everything. I have no experience, so like I play college tennis. I literally am not a fighter at all. He's literally just getting me in the gym, like I'm learning everything right now.
yeah, just honestly, the biggest thing for you right now is just have an open mind and just consistency. There's like everyone's like, what do I do? And the main thing is just showing up. Eventually you'll start getting it. You'll pick up on things, and eventually all come around. And sometimes you'll plateau, and then you'll get all down. You're like, why the fuck am I not getting better?
Yeah.
Just keep going, and eventually it'll all start working out.
Yeah. So this I always like doing this. It's like it's funny. So I'll like look up someone's like a random fight from a long time and I'll see if you like remember this. So what do you know about the Thunder and Lightning Pro Am It was in Lewiston, Idaho.
Yeah, yeah, that one, that was my second amateur fight, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
against
dude, yeah,
Dakota
that was
Heat.
that was a good one.
It
It's
was
funny because my coach it's funny, I was just looking at that fight the other day. It's funny because my coach at right now, he wasn't my coach at the time, Rick Little, reffed that fight of mine. So that's funny because he reffed that fight and I won that fight, I think in the
yeah, it
first
was a
round by
rear
rear
naked
naked choke.
choke. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, yeah. I do remember that one. That was my second fight. I think I was 17. And yeah, so my current coach now that I didn't know at the time, Rick Little, reffed that fight. And I remember, yeah, because at that time, all I had known was jujitsu. I wasn't that good with my hands. So I remember him just punching me and me just slip the punch, grab him, take him down, jump on his back, and choke him out. I think it was like 2 minutes or something.
No, yeah, that's so funny that like it came up. So I see it's like at the Clearwater River and Casino, in Idaho. Where's the weirdest place you've fought at?
Mm, that's a good question. I think the weirdest place, honestly, probably was this place in Seattle. I think it was my second to last amateur fight or my last amateur fight. It was again, and it was crazy because I had to take a ferry across the canal to get
Yeah,
to the casino I was fighting at, and so it was cool. Like I was cutting weight, and so I had to get to like 140. It was a catch weight, and we drove all the way from Spokane, which was like 6 hours to Seattle, and then we had to take like a 30-minute ferry to this casino, and then I fought.
that's crazy. So the
Yeah.
last one, I don't want to like take up too much of your time. I always finish off with this. So when your career is over, like down the line, long time from now, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to make a legacy like this. I'm so young in the sport right now, but I'm not getting any younger. So my goal is to make a legacy that is remembered for a long time. I want to be known as one of the greatest martial artists in the UFC, one of their champions for a long time. So yeah, that's the name I want to leave. I want to leave the name as a good guy, fucking entertaining
Yeah.
and a fucking savage.
Yeah. No, well, Bray, I really appreciate it. One day I'm gonna come out to one of your fights. I really appreciate it and stay in touch, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I appreciate it.